I love snorkeling, and I took a class back when they called it skin diving, way back when, at a summer camp, and that was a lot of fun. And it was in a lake, and the lake was fed by this stream, and at the end of it, we were, going up into the stream, and there's all the reeds, and there's the little fish and turtles and stuff, and I just thought that was so cool. And then after college, I bought some gear and I went snorkeling over in Long Beach one time without a wetsuit. It was so cold. Oh, it was so cold. We were in water probably 45 minutes, and it took me 2 hours to warm up again. And then when I moved to Maui, I got snorkeling gear, and I was so excited about getting into the water again and snorkeling again. And so I did, like many people do, is I jumped in, and I was in the middle of the beach and, just a few feet from shore. And so mostly it's the sandiness, the waves, and there's not any coral or any kind of rocks or reef. There's really not a whole lot of life in that part of the beach. And it was something that I wasn't really aware of. And so it wasn't as fun as I wanted to be, but there would be things that would come by occasionally, and that was pretty cool. Well, one day I was doing some computer work for a fellow fixing his laptop, and he had these pictures on his wall of different fish and turtles and reef and things like that. And they're really good pictures. And I said, "Oh, are these your pictures?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah." He says, "I go snorkeling quite a lot." And he says, "I got so many, I don't have enough wall to put them on, so I just kind of rotate them around as I go." So after I was done, he showed me more of his pictures and stuff. And I expressed, well, I haven't really seen any of this stuff. I'm just, in the middle of the beach and all that stuff. He goes, "Oh, man," he says, "let me take you to some of my spots." And so we did. He took me to several spots, and it was just what I needed to take me across the threshold to a different level. And I wasn't really aware of, prior to talking to him, that I needed to cross the threshold to have more enjoyment, to increase my skill level. But there it was. And so it was really wonderful to have somebody who had been there and done that to kind of be there with me and guide me into this next level. So being within all the surge of the waves and the tides, and being in and around all the rocks and the coral, it was something I learned how to navigate, but that wasn't something I had in my little bit in the lake years ago, and also in just swimming in swimming pools and stuff. It's different than the ocean, that's for sure. So to be able to have a little bit of a guide through what the ocean is like and how to navigate that was just what I needed. And it brought me to a next level, and has let me to continue to level up on my own since. And that's been pretty awesome. Sometimes we need that in life. There are plenty of times where we are at a threshold and ready to cross it, and where we have a certain amount of know-how, sometimes academic knowledge about something, and we're at a point where we're ready to proceed a little further and get some more actual experience, or experience at a different level than where we have been. We got to level up in our skills. And this we hear about all the time, and we apply it to a lot of things in life, especially, say, video games and things like that. But the reality of it is that so much in life is that way, where we cross up levels. And when we do so, there's not some big fanfare, there's not some big change of color or confetti or horns and music and theme songs and all that kind of stuff. It's just a regular sort of life. And sometimes it's a little more notable, where we have this feeling of victory and all that stuff, which is pretty wonderful. And it's more personal, of course, than scenery would be, say, in a video game or on a TV show or a game show or anything like that. So obviously different there. But, we can do that same sort of thing for ourselves in life. We can make celebrations. We can, give ourselves a little ceremony sometimes as we level up to something new. And there are times that we're taking courses and stuff. We'll get a certificate or a diploma or whatever it is. And so we do have little things that kind of mark these things in life. But sometimes a lot of life is just crossing an invisible threshold and not even being aware of it sometimes. And that's okay too. I think it probably do us well to celebrate things more in life. And there are a lot of other cultures, and especially more things, it seems like, in historical times and stuff, where there were more celebrations and holidays of sorts and stuff. And these days we seem to celebrate holidays and celebrations that have been established way back, rather than creating our new ones. But, we can, on a personal level, just create celebrations about little thresholds we cross, or victories we've achieved, or goals accomplished, and throw a party for ourselves or for those involved. And that's okay, and kind of a fun thing. And I don't know, if we did that a little more, maybe that would add a little something to our lives to kind of spice it up a little more. But regardless, the thought is that life has these spots where we cross a threshold, and sometimes we stop at it and we puzzle over it. We may not be aware of what's necessary, or we lack the confidence or the skills or the experience to feel comfortable crossing that threshold. So we just stop, and that's a normal thing. If we don't feel safe, we tend to stop, or sometimes push through. All the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn things tend to apply into whatever degree the situation we call upon, or whatever our personality and experiences may be like. But it is one of those things that sometimes we can be halted by, or just plow through, instead of maybe utilizing the expertise of somebody else. And it's okay. I mean, there's plenty of times we can do things on our own in life, and we can learn things on our own. We can be fiercely independent, and most things we can achieve on our own, and especially these days where we have the internet and all that, where we can learn about things. So that's definitely a thing. But sometimes there is a little extra depth, or a little extra version of fun. Sometimes there's a little bit extra safety. There are definitely benefits to being part of a group, or to get a mentor, or to sign up for a course, or to do something where we can have somebody beside us, or somebody leading us over a threshold and is skilling up. Even in college, I recall there were times in some of the courses where there would be the lecture portion, and then there would be a lab time where we had the academic part of it, where you kind of got some sort of knowledge of it, and then, okay, here's what that actually means. Now you have some hands-on with an instructor that you can actually experience it and see what it's actually like, instead of it just being head knowledge. And we can apply that to life a lot more than we do sometimes. And some folks are constantly taking courses and signing up for classes and being part of a group, and that's awesome. And sometimes you can do it one-on-one with just friends or whatever. There's all kinds of things like Meetup and things like that. I think different apps. I know there's probably slews of them, but there are things that we can, on the internet, connect with folks who have like minds. And even here on Maui, sometimes there are different bulletin boards on Facebook and such like that, where it's like, hey, I'm looking for a dive partner to go scuba diving, or looking for a spearfishing partner or a boating partner. I'm going to go out on this day, this area. If you're available, meet up and let's split gas. Whatever it is, there are ways now that we can connect with people, total strangers sometimes, or people that we know, and just add that extra dimension of somebody to be there with us. And sometimes that can be a big deal in safety and in experience and in know-how, because everybody has different perspectives, everybody has different knowledge, and it's really cool to share all that. And that is one thing that's so cool about humans, that we can share, and it's fun to share. It's not always not always, people are people. Sometimes we have conflicts, but it can be very enriching, very fun, very enjoyable, very helpful to share. So yeah, we are not alone in this world. We don't have to do it all alone. And although we can, sometimes there's great benefits to crossing a threshold with somebody, and to just partner up with somebody and being open to learn more and see different insights that we don't normally see. I think being human is pretty stinking wonderful, and being alive is awesome. So anyway, embrace life, get out there, try new things, cross those thresholds, grab somebody to help you out, or be that somebody to offer to somebody else. Whatever it works, it definitely is generally worthwhile. I hate that I throw in those qualifiers sometimes. Well, generally, because there are those times when it's not. But overall, yeah, I think we can count on it being a helpful and positive thing, especially if we go into it wanting it to be that way, and we put our efforts into it to make it be that way. And especially when it comes to different activities and stuff, those are generally a pretty good recipe for having a good time, rather than, some big situation where you're butting heads and all that stuff. So anyway, now I'm starting to digress, so I will stop it here. I hope you have a wonderful day. Have a good one.